My view on the following statement, the Commerce Clause, the secret weapon of Congress, is that I am in support of it. The founders intended to give Congress the power of the Commerce Clause, which means Congress has the authority to regulate commerce with foreign nations and among the several states and Indian tribes as well. When it comes to interstate commerce, when states trade, they are not allowed to put a tax on imports or exports they are sending and receiving to and from other states. Congress oversees these trades and makes sure trades are moving swiftly throughout the states. This not only cuts down the cost of goods because of there being no taxes, but it also stops states from being involved in trade wars with one another, which usually end up worse. Congress helps ensure there will be a strong economy with a free market idea amongst the states. In other terms, they are strengthening the union of the nation. Just like a lot of things in the Constitution, they are up for interpretation. My interpretation of Congress having the power to regulate commerce simply means they have the power to oversee the traffic of products and other things from one area to the next. A lot of people get tied up in thinking that Congress has the power to control what and how much is actually being traded. In the 1995 case titled United States v. Lopez, Alfonso Lopez Jr. carried a handgun with bullets and multiple cartridges onto his San Antonio high school. Congress had previously passed the Gun-Free School Zones Act of 1990, which prohibited anyone from carrying any sort of firearm in an area that was considered a school zone. The case ended in a 5-4 majority decision stating that Congress had exceeded its constitutional authority, stating that Congress didn't have the right to pass the Gun-Free School Zones Act of 1990 under the Commerce Clause. Congress was in violation of the Commerce Clause because they were regulating handguns in which people were carrying personally, stating where they could or couldn't actually carry them. This was unconstitutional because they were regulating personal items that weren't entering the market and weren't involved in the economy or any kind of economic activity. I believe personally that Congress was just trying to do the right thing by creating the Gun-Free School Zones Act of 1990. My view is that Congress should have had the right to do so because it's somebody going onto a school zone with a gun for no reason to do so. I understand the purpose and I also understand the violation of the Commerce Clause, but I do believe there was more good than harm done in this sense. In my opinion, there should not be any kind of explanation on why someone feels the need to carry a gun onto a school zone. Another case involving the Commerce Clause is 1942, where there was a farmer in Ohio named Roscoe Filburn. This case is known as Wickard v. Filburn. A few years prior, Congress had passed the Agricultural Adjustment Act of 1938, which limited that farmers could devote to wheat production a certain amount of area. Filburn was solely growing wheat to feed his animals, and that was it. He was growing it simply to self-sustain his farm. He was also cited for using too much area and growing too much wheat to feed his own animals. He ended up receiving a fine for $117.11. Filburn insisted that he was only using the wheat to feed his animals and not to sell to anyone. It wasn't for interstate commerce, so that penalty couldn't be right to put on him. The court deemed that he was growing too much wheat and indirectly affecting the economy because he was growing so much of his own. He wouldn't be buying as much from other farmers, therefore lowering his involvement in the economy. If Filburn was to do this, then what would stop the next farmer to do that, and so on? It would send off a chain reaction of others doing so, and it would prove to be disastrous to the economy. It wasn't the sole action of him growing the wheat that Congress was concerned about. It was the after effects of what could happen. Congress is essentially regulating the economy prior to a potential disaster. In my opinion, I agree with Congress's actions in regards to the case of Wickard v. Filburn. I believe that while he may have felt he wasn't doing that much harm by growing a little more wheat than he was supposed to, Congress had laid down those ground rules because they were trying to stabilize the price of wheat, and it's like one kink in the chain locks the rest up. If one person feels the need to break the rules, then so on and so on. It isn't fair to the other farmers that are following the guidelines and trying to make a living if someone else simply grows their own and tells the next guy, I don't need your wheat, and if I do, I'll only need a little bit of it. This can make the economy jump up and down, and that is where Congress is justified in stepping in and regulating it. Congress has the right to regulate and try to stabilize the economy under the Commerce Clause, and I am in full support of Congress's view in this case as well. I believe Congress is assembled with highly intelligent people who have knowledge in many areas, including the economy. I think it is right to let them handle the regulation and flow of the economy. I feel as if the economy, if it was based purely in the hands of the everyday person, there would be the top 1% that controls 99% of the market. It is unfortunate, but there are greedy people who would take advantage of a system like that. I think it is best that Congress, who are unbiased and have the knowledge to have the power of the Commerce Clause. I believe that now, as times are progressing, the people, as well as the government, are getting a more clear-cut idea on what the Commerce Clause was really intending. As stated previously, things in the Constitution are always up for interpretation, but the area of freedom of what something can or can't mean is becoming more defined, especially for the Commerce Clause. I am in full support of the Commerce Clause and believe Congress has used it accordingly and trust that they will continue to use it justifiably. Thank you for taking the time to listen. All references, examples, and videos will be listed in the description of this video.